Hey YouTube, this is Wrestling and Amusement Park Fan 62. Now, most of the content I've put on this channel has been the amusement side of this channel, and some but this time I'm going with the wrestling side of it. This is my thoughts on the 2019 Survivor Series, which comes on this Sunday on the WWE Network. Now, leading up to it, from watching Monday Night Raw, we still have NXT tomorrow night, Wednesday, and Friday night SmackDown to go. And then we have NXT TakeOver War Games Saturday night. Now, leading into Survivor Series, there are still a lot of unanswered questions we have, such as why did they not do a series like they did last year with picking the women? They just randomly chose women out of thin air because they revealed that once Raw went off the air who Team Raw women's are. If you don't know, Team Raw's is Charlotte Flair with Natalya, with Sarah Logan, and the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, versus Team SmackDown, which is led by the boss Sasha Banks, with Lacey Evans, Nikki Cross, Carmella, and someone else. Now, Team NXT is yet to be determined. Now, switching to the men's side, you have Team Raw, which is Randy Orton with Ricochet, with Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre, and someone else, versus Team SmackDown, which is Baron Corbin with the Monster Among Men, Braun Strowman, with the Big Dog, Roman Reigns, and Shorty G, and Ali. And Team NXT for that is still yet to be decided. Now, they have announced a few of the champion versus champion matches for this year. The first one is the Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch will take on the SmackDown Champion Bayley versus the NXT Champion Shayna Baszler. Now, with that match, I'm interested to see if Marina and Jessamine Duke will interfere in some way, having Shayna Baszler the winner. Because normally when Shayna Baszler is in the ring, those two are nearby somewhere. The next is the tag team, which is the Raw champions, the Viking Raiders, versus the SmackDown, which is the New Day, versus the Undisputed Era for NXT. That I'm interested in because I'm interested to see how that's going to work. And the last champion versus champion match that have been announced so far is Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus one of the guys from the Undisputed Era. I can't think of his name. Now, the only non-Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT that's been announced so far is Um, Daniel Bryan taking on the Fiend Bray Wyatt. I would like to see how that's going to work. Because the bad part about that is it sounds like a good match coming up. But the problem is they were really not built it up, because they just started it sort of last week or the week before, and Survivor Series is Sunday. So you only had a good 2 to 3 weeks build on it. I think 2 weeks. So I'm interested to see how that's going to work. Now, overall, I do see this being a good Survivor Series match. And unlike previous years where it's always been Raw versus SmackDown, you're adding NXT into this mix. And some of the women who are probably, some of the men and women who are probably going to be in it are going to be in the night before for NXT War Games, where they're having the first ever women's War Games match. Which, if you don't know what a War Games match is basically you have two teams. This year is Team Baszler versus Team Rhea Ripley. And they're going to be in a cage, and you're going to have one person from each team and start out, and then every so often another person from another team is going to come. Well, last week on NXT they had a ladder match to see who has the advantage, at least at the beginning. And that went to Team Shayna. So that's going to be interesting to see. Now, tomorrow or Wednesday on NXT, they're going to have on the men's side. Now, putting what I just said aside, I do see this being a good pay-per-view. But some of it I do feel like they're going to just put together at the last minute, which kind of hurts them. And then once that is over, they're going to go right into leading to TLC in 3 weeks. Which, if you don't know what TLC is, stands for Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. So that's going to be an interesting thing to see how they're going to transition from Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT going into Survivor Series, TLC. Comment below what your thoughts are, who you think, what team is going to win Survivor Series overall, and post your predictions on like how many wins Raw will win, how many SmackDown will win, and how many NXT will win. Just for the fun of it. Also, I will start saying this too. Over the next week or so, I am going to start putting if this will be for kids or not, due to the new YouTube stuff going on. After Thanksgiving, I will be working on that as well. Trying to figure all that out. But but I will say this channel will be for kids unless I post something not.